on the left side. Coulter over on right wing. Boudelier and Persson together on defense. The Islanders back into their own zone. Montreal made an immediate player change after dumping the puck in. Persson gave it to Boudelier. His pass deflected to Bossy over on right wing. Tried to set up Trottier, who had gone to the front of the net. The pass back to Bossy. Broken up by Stefan Richer. Richer, number 44. Sounds more like a basketball number, doesn't it? The Canadiens start out. Shell Dahlin to Richer. Back to Dahlin on the right side. That's Naslund with the shot. Not Dahlin. Persson and Naslund got tangled up, and there's John Tonelli for the Islanders. Mike Bossy down the right side. Works on Green at the Montreal line. The pass to Tonelli, and he couldn't get a shot away. Good move by Chelios to take him off the puck. Richer for the Canadiens. Plays it to this right side. Chelios goes rink wide. Naslund coming in on left wing, steered wide by his fellow countryman Thomas Janssen, and here's Potvin. Denny Potvin around to John Tonelli, to Bryan Trottier. Trottier carries the puck over center ice into the Montreal zone. Back to Tonelli. Tonelli can't get through the traffic, and Dahlin handed it away to Potvin. His shot blocked by Carbonneau. Ends up in the far corner. Canadiens starting out from there. Into the Islander zone. Dahlin cuts right in. Smith the pad save, and the rebound is loose. The net comes off its moorings. Well, play has been
Jiggs not taking advantage. Here's Dahlin, gets a good chance, gets in all alone. Billy Smith, what a stop by Smith. The KG Bill Smith standing up, challenging the shooter. Dahlin, as he comes in on the right wing side, a left-handed shooter. Dennis Potvin sliding into Bill Smith into the net, knocking it off the moorings. Good stop by Bill Smith.
From the Islander lineup tonight. Canadiens getting the draw, and that's Green in deep. Put it out in front of the net. It comes to the left wing boards for Duane Sutter. Sutter playing on the left side with Flatley on right wing and LaFontaine at center ice. Morrow and Leiter together on the Islander defense. That's Kenny Morrow, and his pass is tipped down into the Montreal zone. Out of the net goes Roy, clearing it around the boards for Gainey. He's checked in his own end. LaFontaine picks up the puck. At LaFontaine to Flatley, and it just went wide. Leiter holds it in here at the left point, dumping one to the corner, but Green back for Montreal. Fires it around the boards. Flatley lets one go, and that missed the net. Comes back to Leiter. Into the corner off the skates of LaFontaine. Duane Sutter goes to center one that's broken up, and Momesso has it for Montreal. Shoots it high in the air into center ice. Flatley comes back. Patrick Flatley to Pat LaFontaine. Dumps it in. Flatley races it after it. Gainey chasing him. Flatley lost it in his skates, and there's Green shooting it high in the air once more. The Canadiens have just dumped it to center ice. Boudelier took it from Persson. Sends LaFontaine over the line on left wing, trying to cut around the defense and couldn't do it. The Canadiens start out of their own zone. That made the play was Svoboda. Svoboda dumps the puck to the Islander blue line, where it's picked up by Boudelier. Boudelier to Mark Gillies. He's over the Montreal blue line. Cuts to the right. Gave the puck to Housen, and a shot blocked at the Canadiens defense. Montreal starting out quickly. Mike McPhee into the Islander zone. Persson takes him off the puck. Lemieux's backhander is kicked out by Smith. Lemieux quickly on that loose puck. And the Islanders able to clear it now. Gillies to Nystrom. Nystrom back in the lineup this evening after having back problems for the last half dozen or more games. There's no score if you've just joined us, as the action moves end to end very quickly in this opening period. Claude Lemieux bumped by Gillies and sent flying. The puck in the Islanders zone. It'll be picked up by Potvin. Potvin around behind the net to Persson. Nystrom, Housen, and Gillies, the Islander forwards. This is Gillies over to Nystrom, and it went into the Montreal zone off his skate. So the Canadiens with a chance to get it back. Robinson shooting in wide. Nyland goes in after it, tips it right into the goal mouth where Smith.
Last here in the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, they've had the better opportunities to score.
Richer, Nyland, and Naslund, their forward line. That's Nyland centering one out in front. Held in at the Islander line by Chelios. Nyland picks it up, put it out in front, but Bossy was there to block it. Got it to Bryan Trottier. Trottier bumped by Richer, and the Canadiens pick it up again at their own territory. Richer wearing Jerry West's old number 44. I guess a lot of basketball stars have worn that number over the years. Some baseball folks too, come to think of it. Naslund shoots it high in the air. Smith grabs it, drops it, and it's picked up by Potvin. Denny Potvin at center ice. Carbonneau checked him there. Potvin recovered in time to shoot it in wide of the Canadiens net. Tonelli in after it. Played around the boards away from Trottier, and down the right side comes Dahlin over the Islander line. Dahlin trying to pull it around the defense. Centers one, and it just went in to the far corner. Picked up again by Dahlin. Put it out in front. Morrow tips that aside, and Bossy takes over deep in his own zone, shoots it high in the air to center ice where Green has knocked it down.
Good opportunity for Guy Carbonneau, Jiggs. He misfired on the pass from Duane.
Canadiens have had 3 good scoring opportunities, and here's Carbonneau unloading one from just inside the blue line. Smith leaves it for Leiter. Leiter right side. Calder couldn't get a stick on it. Now Green gives chase. Ortko chases him in a little deeper, forcing him back of the net, and forced him off the puck as well. Green recovers, moves it out into center ice, and here's Leiter at the Islander blue line, playing it rink wide. Bob Gainey, the Montreal captain, gave it to Green, then to Ludwig, and his pass off the stick of Roger Kortko. Leiter moves up. Knocked loose again by Ludwig, and Gainey takes over for Montreal. Banks it off the boards into the Islanders zone. Leiter, who had been going for a player change, cleared it into the center ice area, and the Canadiens shoot it right back in again. Bill Smith out of the net to knock it away from Bob Gainey. Got it to Stefan Persson. Persson's pass to the left side. This is Mark Hamway. Hamway into the Montreal zone. Played it rink wide. There was nobody there for the holding the puck in. Played it to the corner for Duane Sutter to Bossy. It's knocked away from him, and the Islanders have to chase it. There's a look at the stats in the Islander power play. 17th in the league. It has moved up from about a 12.0 percentage to 17%. And there's the Montreal penalty killing. Only 2 teams are worse at this point. Duane Sutter with a shot off the blocking glove of Roy. And LaFontaine came out in front, got 2 shots away. And Roy, who had had nothing to do till that moment, has come up with 3 quick saves.
Standing tall, Patrick Roy. He's from Quebec City. A lot of province of Quebec flavor in the Montreal team. The 2 particular players.
8 rookies in their lineup. 6 of them dressed for this game tonight, and the Islanders have to chase a loose puck. A minute and 8 seconds remaining in the penalty time to Momesso. Canadiens with it at their own blue line. This is Chelios to Larry Robinson. Robinson checked in the center ice area. Potvin moves up, couldn't control it. Tonelli sends Trottier over the blue line. Trottier trying to get away from the check of Strudland, and the puck comes to center ice. Janssen to Potvin. And Potvin back to Thomas Janssen. Steps over the line on the right side and was checked immediately and knocked down in the play by Guy Carbonneau. Robinson drops it into his own territory. 34 seconds left in the Canadiens penalty. Montreal just content to shoot it down into the Islanders zone. Back for it is Potvin. Carbonneau comes in to forecheck as Potvin gave it to Janssen.
Fine line here, Jiggs. You don't know whether to blame the Islander power play for not performing well or to give all the credit to the Montreal Canadiens penalty killers.
They have been excellent. Gave the Islanders a couple of quick opportunities, but nothing since then. And now Tonelli gets the pass to Trottier deep in the Montreal territory. Trottier's centering attempt went right to Naslund, who is probably calling for it. And received it. Dumped it down into the Islanders zone. And
didn't know that Brian Trottier spoke Swedish.
The teams are at 6 aside. He may have thought it was Janssen, or Stefan. Montreal killed off that penalty to Momesso. Gave up 3 shots on goal. Patrick Roy equal to the test. Here's Tonelli centering one in front, right back to Tonelli, and he's dragged down in front of the net. There'll be another Montreal.
Take a look. There's John Tonelli coming out from the side. Green hooked him once, hooked him twice. There's the pass, the return pass. Green takes him down. Here's Pat LaFontaine earlier. 1, 2 good shots. Patrick Roy making the stops for Montreal. Looks like Ken Dryden the way he stands up there. His goalie pads look twice as big as everybody else's.
Yes, don't they? Flatley battling for a puck. Got it to LaFontaine, to Duane Sutter, to LaFontaine, and Roy makes the save.
Islanders gain control. Pat LaFontaine, who had 2 shots earlier in rapid succession, tests Patrick Roy once more. For the Islanders on right now. Momesso had just finished at 7:41 before Green took a hooking penalty at 8:03.
Flatley and LaFontaine kept the puck in, along with Persson, but the Canadiens broke it up and have dumped it down the ice. In 3 meetings between the 2 teams a year ago, the Islanders had 1 power play goal on only 5 chances. 5 power play chances against the Canadiens. They dumped the puck in over the line. Carbonneau trying to clear it out. LaFontaine had it, lost it to the check of Chelios. Chris Chelios fires one. Smith got enough of that to steer it wide of the net. There's Persson feeding it to Duane Sutter. Sutter goes to the right side for Mike Bossy.
Imagine Jiggs being a penalty killer for the Montreal Canadiens if they only had 5 opportunities to kill off penalties against the Islanders. Yeah, it could last for 35 years at that rate.
Bossy making the play to Johnsson at the blue line. Over here to Potvin. In deep, Denis Potvin back to the point. Johnsson through a screen. Roy the save, and the rebound goes off the crossbars. Bossy cranked it up. Potvin with a shot that was deflected wide of the Canadiens net, and here's Bossy with it now. Centers, LaFontaine shot is stopped by Patrick Roy, and out come the Canadiens. Gainey is over center ice into the Islanders' zone. Cuts to the left side, shoots one. Smith knocked it out of the air. It's loose in front and now cleared by Bill Smith. Smith lost his goal stick, but Potvin has the puck. Leads the Islanders to center ice with 23 seconds left in the power play. Shot it in high and wide of the net, and the Canadiens have been able to clear it once more. 14 seconds remaining in the penalty to Green as you watch Potvin back in his own zone. The pass into the skates of Tonelli. And the Canadiens cleared it out. Bobby Smith brings it back and over the line. Shot went off Potvin that just went wide. Smith picks it up back of the net. Couldn't center it. Smith is without Bobby Smith with the puck. Bill Smith without a stick. And there's a hard shot by Ludwig that missed the net. Bobby Smith centers, and Tonelli has tipped it into center ice. Canadiens back at full strength. There is no score in the first period. Ludwig shooting it in. Potvin takes a look. Shoots it high. That goes up into the
Islanders. Here's a pass back. Thomas Johnsson rips it. Patrick Roy makes the save. Potvin gets a couple of opportunities. Here's a shot by Potvin. Roy getting just enough of that to tip it wide with John Tonelli moving in close.
Now Scott Howson is centering for Bob Nystrom on right wing. Clark Gillies on the left side as you saw Chelios fire one high in the Islanders zone. Gainey was sent flying by Nystrom's check. Leiter giving the pass to Howson, now to Clark Gillies. Gillies at center ice. Fed Howson, who steps over the line. Howson trying to get around Ludwig. Shoots one off the left arm of Patrick Roy. The Canadiens taking over in their own zone. Curvers played it across to the blue line where Bobby Smith is checked, and Howson is back into the Montreal territory. Scott Howson dumps it around the boards for Nystrom. Lets it go back in the net. Gillies knocks it loose. Here's Nystrom in the left wing corner. Nystrom to Howson. Back to the blue line to Leiter. Leiter dumps it into a crowd of skates, and the Canadiens able to clear it to center ice. It'll be picked up by Gainey. Morrow steps in front of him at the Islander blue line. Well, Nassau goes in after it. Leiter took him off the puck, and Morrow is there. Now Bobby Smith right on top of him. Here's Howson giving it to Gillies on left wing. Off the glass, away from Robinson. Down into the Montreal zone, and well, it got over the goal line, but icing was waved off. Canadiens trying to move it out of their own zone. They fed it to Richer on left wing. Richer drop pass to Naslund, and his shot hit the side of the Islander goal. Picked up by Mark Hamway. Nyland steps into him. Persson is in that battle as well. Naslund trying to handle it over on left wing. Back to the blue line. A shot hit Hamway. Comes loose in front. Mark Hamway continuing to battle for it. Knocked it away from Nyland, and Kortko has cleared it, but not out. Richer to Naslund. He is too well covered, and the Islanders have cleared it into the center ice zone. Robinson sent Naslund into the Islander territory. To Richet's centering attempt is cut off and cleared. Bill Smith putting a stick on it. There's Robinson with a shot off the shoulder of Smith. Another stop, they bang in the rebound as Richet scores for Montreal.
Persistence again pays off. Billy Smith got the first shot. He got a piece of the second shot. But the third one, Stefan Richer, I believe, got the rebound for the second time. Put it in. There's Robinson's shot. Smith stopped it. There's the rebound. He stopped it again, and then Richer taps it underneath. A sprawling Bill Smith has the original shot stopped by Smith. The rebound stopped by Smith. And then Richer, number 44, with his 9th goal of the season, has given Montreal a 1-0 lead. Big goal for the visiting Montreal Canadiens. They open things up with 7 minutes and 52 seconds remaining here in the first period. They've had the better opportunities. The Islanders have had 7 shots. 6 of the 7 shots have come on a power play. Twice they've had power plays. 6 of their 7 shots have been via the power play.
Assists on the goal by Richer have gone to Chris Nyland and Larry Robinson. Goal at 12:08. So Montreal up 1-0. The Islanders have shot it in wide of the Canadiens' net. Wayne Sutter in after it to LaFontaine, and Patrick Roy stops him.
Montreal has opened up a 1-0 lead. Pat LaFontaine must have at least 4 of the Islanders' 8 shots in this first period so far. The disclaimer will have to wait.
All right.
I promise I will get it in.
We'll wait patiently. The Canadiens clearing the puck to center ice for Claude Lemieux. A long shot into the catching glove of Bill Smith. Slaps it off the boards. The Canadiens hold it in. Lemieux dumped it to the corner. There's Potvin. Kenny Potvin to LaFontaine. He pulled it away from the check of Walter and has dumped it into the center ice zone. Lemieux, shaken up, has gone back to the Montreal bench. Johnson with the puck in his own territory. Ahead for Duane Sutter. Lost it at the blue line. The Canadiens try to come back in over, and they do. Ryan Walter gets checked on the play by Johnson. Continue to battle for it. It's kicked back to the blue line. Ludwig centered one off Carbonneau's stick. Picked up by Patrick Flatley. Flatley falling back of the goal, but now on his skates again has given it to Duane Sutter.
That's the poison dart, as the players often call it. Player falls down, no one's near him.
I heard another new expression to get into this game somewhere. I've got to test you with this one. As we watch Tonelli come in on the far side, to Flatley, bumped from behind by Walter, and the puck goes back of the net. Rick Green with it. Ever heard of an American League goal? The puck deflected up.
Here's a #1 pick for the Minnesota North Stars.
Traded over to the Canadiens, and what at that time was a big squat between the North Stars and Montreal. Puck dumped into the Islander territory by Momesso. Bill Smith out of the net, slaps one around the glass. The Canadiens up 1-0, and a goal by Richer in this first period. Bang one in from the blue line. A delayed penalty call in effect here as Leiter moves up to clear the puck.
Third on the road.
And we watch Robinson unloading one. Pad stop by Bill Smith, and there's Persson with the rebound. Has given it to Mike Bossy. Bossy into center ice, drops it back to Boudelier here on the left point. Now to Trottier. Back into his own zone, and Persson will have to chase it. No damage done. 20 seconds gone, and the Islander penalty, and the shot went off Bossy, apparently into the Islander players bench and back out on the ice.
Comes along. We should talk a little bit about the new coach of the Montreal Canadiens.
Jean Perron.
Usually it's a high visibility person coaching Montreal. Not so the case now. Another career coach.
Out of the college ranks. He will get that opportunity, I'm sure. Johnson has slapped the puck off the glass at the penalty box and down the ice. Robinson gave it to Chelios. Over to the left side. That's Mats Naslund shooting it into the Islander zone. Potvin going back for it, played it away from Dahlin. It comes outside the blue line and picked up now by Robinson. Larry Robinson. Sent Walter over the line to Dahlin. His pass spins through in front, picked up by Walter. Back to the blue line. Robinson couldn't get a stick on it, and Tonelli kicks it loose. Picks it up again at the Montreal line. Centered one just off the stick of Thomas Johnson. Johnson bumped by Robinson, and the Canadiens have it in their own end. This is Chelios leading them out of there. 45 seconds left in the Montreal power play that's broken up at the Islander zone by Boudelier. Canadiens have it again. Dahlin to Naslund. Naslund trying to get around Johnson. Naslund went down. The puck ended up in the corner, and Boudelier slapped it to the blue line off Chelios and into the Montreal Canadiens end. You see the time ticking down to the final 26 seconds in this man advantage. Montreal coming up with the puck. Nassau fire
coaches. Not many players. Butch Goring, of course, recently leaving the playing fields of the NHL to take a coaching job with the Boston Bruins, doing an outstanding job.
Now the Canadiens with the puck. Played in along the boards for Bobby Smith. Back to the right point for Green. Fires one. Smith got enough of that. And it goes to the stick of Mike Bossy. Nystrom out of the penalty box. So the Islanders killed off the only Montreal power play thus far in the game. Trottier with the puck now. Has backhanded it down the ice, and the Islanders make a player change. LaFontaine coming out with Flatley and Duane Sutter. Canadiens in full flight as they get to center ice. Svoboda across the line. Peter Svoboda plays one around behind the net. Strudland getting a rare opportunity in this period is checked. There's Flatley clearing it to Duane Sutter. Sutter to the Montreal line. Moves in on the left wing boards. Took a bump. Takes another one from Lemieux. The Canadiens cleared out over the blue line to center ice where Potvin will gain control. Kenny Potvin and Thomas Johnson on defense. Potvin gave it away to Strudland, who cuts in, and Potvin recovers neatly to make a good defensive play. The puck played to the right wing, and there's LaFontaine to Flatley. Shoots, and it just went wide. Potvin goes in after the rebound. Plays it around to the side of the net. Flatley centers, and McPhee got back for the Canadiens. Mike McPhee carries the puck over center into the Islanders' zone. Pulled to the right, and Potvin leveled him with a good hip check. Picking it up now is Johnson, and the fans react to that check by Potvin as Richer chases a loose puck. It comes around the boards to the left side for Duane Sutter. Has dumped it into the center ice zone. There's Bossy with it. Mike Bossy over the Montreal line. Pulls up, centers one. It's knocked down in front. LaFontaine upended. It's on the doorstep. The goaltender, Roy, finally.
As a team and individually, Denis Potvin gave the puck away. Beautiful recovery as he breaks up the same play. Here's Montreal's Mike McPhee. What a blast he just took from the hip of Denis Potvin as he caught him coming across the blue line, the Islander blue line, with his head down.
Now the face-off, Kortko got the draw back to Morrow, to Leiter. Dumps it in around the boards. Kortko taken out by Chelios, but in goes Hamway. Back to Leiter, to Kortko, excuse me. He and Carbonneau tie up on the boards. Chelios stepped in, and the puck went to the left side. Leiter back at the blue line, worked it into the corner. Calder takes his man down. Play goes on as Kortko picks up the puck. Sidestep Chelios. Next one off the boards. The Canadiens trying to clear it out. Leiter down on his knees, has held it in at the Montreal line, and it's pushed us. Canadiens leading 1-0. They're off a 6-0 shutout of the Los Angeles Kings on Saturday night in L.A. Doug Sotark posting that shutout. And their rookie netminder, Roy, a 20-year-old in the goal tonight, has been brilliant in this first period, keeping the Islanders off the board. Boudelier giving the puck to Persson. Out to center ice. Trottier couldn't get a stick on it. Ryan Walter does. Steps into the Islanders' zone, but couldn't set up Duane. Duane plays it around behind the net. Over comes Paul Boudelier. Up the boards, intended for Tonelli. Duane kept it in front of the net. Walter gets turned around, and Bryan Trottier feeds it to the right side. Off Tonelli. The Canadiens had it momentarily. Tonelli has given it to Trottier. Over to John Tonelli. Tries to set up Bossy, and Carbonneau broke up that play. Carbonneau into the Islanders' zone. Cuts to the right, centers one. That's blocked by Stefan Persson. Boudelier clears it to center with 1 minute and 5 seconds left in the first period. Ryan Walter stripped of the puck. Tonelli and Bossy break over the Montreal line. Tonelli drops it to Trottier, who comes in late. Trottier, a drive, just missed on the glove side. Johnson with it at the right point. There's it around behind the net for Trottier. Stepped away from the check, plays it back to Denis Potvin. Lets the shot go. Roy the save, and Bossy can't get a stick on the rebound. Then he was dragged down. Potvin with the puck. Over it goes to Tonelli. He shoots. Roy sprawls.
And faking the shot. Oh, I was earlier. There's the shot by Potvin. The rebound, Bossy trying to control it. He can't. Moving in quickly to cover Bossy. Guy Carbonneau, number 21, as he takes Bossy to the ice. There's the shot by John Tonelli right after that, as Denis Potvin spotted him on the far
all-time list, tied with a former Montreal Canadien great, Dickie Moore, and also another former Montreal Canadien, Red Berenson, I guess more noted for his play in St. Louis and Detroit than with the Canadiens. He too scored 261 goals in his career. Canadiens into the final half minute of this opening period. Got it to Gainey at center. It went off his stick. Potvin down, blocked it, but couldn't control it. And here's Bobby Smith with a shot. Bill Smith the save in the Islander net. Flatley kicking at it. Bobby Smith puts it off to the far wing, and over goes LaFontaine. Couldn't clear it out of there. McPhee trying to get it to Gainey, but it comes outside the blue line. Ludwig back in the Montreal defense, comes to center ice and shoots it in. And Ludwig takes a hard hit. He and Wayne ends the draw, won by Housen, and it goes back into the Islanders' zone. Stefan Persson brings it up the right side. Gave it to Boudelier, slaps one in around the boards. Roy couldn't cut it off. Nystrom let it go to Housen. Into the corner for Bob Nystrom. Rounds the net, tries to stuff one in. Roy goes down. He has control of the puck and sits on it. Good move forward to face off for the Islanders, this time against Bobby Smith of Montreal. Housen pulled it back. Reaching in to gain control of it was Robinson, and he's fed it to Gainey here on left wing. Nystrom leans into Gainey. Puck ends up back of the net. Bill Smith slaps it around the boards. Mark Gillies jabs it loose for Housen. Now to Persson. Pulls it away from the check and gave it to Boudelier on the left side. Out to Housen at center ice. Scott Housen into the Montreal zone. Robinson stepped in front of Gillies to break up the pass, and around the boards it goes for Gainey. And he is knocked down by the hip check thrown by Persson. Momesso into the Islanders zone. Shot it off the side of the net. It rebounds away from Bobby Smith. Smith has picked it up. Plays it outside the blue line. Here's Nystrom coming up right wing. over the Montreal line. Faked the shot, but the whistle.
Yeah, I saw a huddle earlier. General manager Bill Torrey, Serge Savard, who were 18th at Montreal Canadiens for quite a few years.
There's 44. Richer blasting one from the blue line that Smith got in front of in the Islander net, and Denis Potvin lugs the puck. Gave it to Thomas Janssen. The pass to Tonelli didn't arrive in time, and Carbonneau has it for the Canadiens. He and Walter over the line. A big shot. Smith got enough of that to make the save, and Bossy gave it away to Carbonneau at the blue line. Carbonneau checked by Potvin, and Trottier worked it over to Thomas Janssen here on the right side. Back to Potvin, but it went out of his reach. Picked up by Carbonneau, and he dumps it around the board. Potvin steps in front of his check. The puck came loose in front, taken by Tonelli. He's dumped it out across the blue line. Bossy stole it. Trottier moves up into the Montreal zone, but he could not regain control of the puck, and back is Carbonneau. Drops it at the blue line. Dean had a couple of pokes at it, couldn't do anything with the puck, and here comes Thomas Janssen into the middle, and Roy makes a pad save. Trottier with the rebound, trying to center it. He's tied up now by Chelios. Kicked the puck loose. Bryan Trottier centers to Morrow on the backhander. It's blocked by Roy. Bossy with a shot. Roy gets it out in front of that. He has been spectacular, folks. Make no mistake about Patrick Roy. He played only one game in the National Hockey League last year. This is his 7th game this season, and he is standing the Islanders on their collective ears here at home. Trottier clearing the puck out for the Islanders. Canadiens pick it up at center. Svoboda bumped solidly by Duane Sutter. Puck in the meantime is back in the Islanders zone, controlled by Trottier. Over to Kenny Morrow. Morrow's pass got away from the Canadiens defenseman Robinson, who hustles back for it now. Robinson up the left side. This is Mats Naslund. Shoots it into the Islanders zone. It bounces wide of the net. Bill Smith plays it around the board. Flatley tying up Naslund, and here's Morrow. Morrow has dumped it into center ice. Robinson goes back. Gives it to Peter Svoboda. Svoboda on this left side. Pass went off the stick of Lemieux, and Flatley for the Islanders shoots it into the Montreal zone. It goes wide of the net. LaFontaine in after it. Puts it out in front. That's going to be called on an offside.
I saw Torrey, Lou Nanny, Serge Savard. What do you think of that? Can you speculate?
Mo and Joe.
Could you create a rumor or something?
No.
No?
No, not me. I guess somebody could.
You've got to know that Lou Nanny's not bashful about making deals.
That's true. Long shot from the point. Bill Smith down. A bouncing puck after he'd made the save. Ends up over on the left wing. Nyland trying to dig one off the boards. LaFontaine knocked it away from him, and Duane Sutter has backhanded it the length of the ice. The Islanders had 10 shots on goal in the first period. LaFontaine had half that number. French-Canadian.
Stefan Richer.
Here's Colte for the Islanders into the Montreal zone. The Hamway. Kortko centered it out in front. Coulter got a poke at it, but Rick Green covers up. Around the boards, it'll be taken by Roger Kortko. Ludwig bumps into him. Kortko comes out of the corner with the puck. Ran into the check and is knocked down by Ludwig. Kortko gathered it in his skates. He and Richer in a battle for it, and it's won by the Canadiens, and out comes Naslund. That's Naslund pulling to the right. Went to the backhand and is steered off the play by Thomas Janssen. Danny Potvin works it around to Neil Coulter on right wing. Coulter's pass to Kortko. He backhands it in around the defense. Curvers lets it go in deeper, and that's Chelios. Right-handed shooting defenseman for Montreal. Lead pass up the right side out of the reach of all of the Canadiens, and the Islanders able to clear it, but not out. Chelios with a shot that skipped off Potvin. Bobby Smith and Potvin tie up one another in the corner. Howson right there, and the puck got loose by Momesso. Comes around the boards and is cleared out by Hamway. Howson moves up. Back in time for the Canadiens is the defense out shooting the Canadiens 4-3 through the first 5 minutes of the second period, but it's still 1-0 Montreal. Canadiens playing it around the boards. Howson holds it in. Nystrom couldn't get a stick on it. It's cleared back to the left point, and there's Leiter. He is bumped off the play, and up come the Canadiens. Bobby Smith to the left side for Gainey. Bob Gainey, the Montreal captain, pulls up on the boards. Chased by Nystrom now as they go in deep. It's centered out in front, and a drive by Momesso. Hit a skate and went wide. Nystrom with it back of the net. Chased by Momesso. Ran into the young Montreal forward. Now Nystrom Gave it to Ken Leiter. Leiter goes rink wide to Clark Gillies. He's over center ice. Dished it off for Nystrom. Bob Nystrom knocked into the boards. Back on his skates. Plays it into the corner. There's Gillies trying to center it. Howson chases it behind the net. It's tied up with the Canadiens defenseman Curvers, and Bobby Smith went in to help out for Montreal. Smith to Curvers, almost intercepted. Curvers brings it over center ice. Across the Islander blue line, pulling to the left wing. Curvers takes a look, couldn't find anybody open. Backhanded one in front that was knocked down and is brought out by Nystrom. Bob Nystrom. It's been a long shift. He blasts one in high off the glass. It worked its way to the far wing, and the Canadiens pick it up there as Carbonneau dumps one ahead into center ice. Darlene checked at the Islander line. Gainey gets loose. Bob Gainey tied up by Stefan Persson. The puck loose again. LaFontaine feeds it up to Bossy. He comes over the line, feeding Duane Sutter on right wing. Sutter centers, and that just went wide of the net. Bossy gets it back to Boudelier at the point. His shot was blocked. Cleared up by Gainey. A dive indicated by Bill McCreary as the defenseman Robinson was pulled down, and Robinson was screaming at the referee. Meantime, the Islanders with the puck. Persson gave it to Bossy. Goes across to Paul Boudelier. Boudelier trying to come in on Robinson. Centers one off to the side of the net. It's picked out of there by Darlene. Ahead to Carbonneau. Carbonneau's over the Islander blue line on right wing. Carbonneau's centering attempt cleared by Bossy, who got back quickly. Now Darlene for Montreal. Backhands it around the glass. Carbonneau in the other corner. Centered one that's intercepted by Mike Bossy. Three Canadiens get back quickly as Bossy comes over center ice. Shot it in off the defenseman Svoboda. Svoboda chased in deeper by the forechecking of LaFontaine. Three Canadiens back of their goal. At one time they had four of them in there and come up with the puck. Robinson plays it off Carbonneau down into the Islander zone. Bill Smith with it. Now to Thomas Janssen. Janssen and Potvin on defense. Breaking past to Kortko has just come out on the ice. Goes to right wing for Bossy. Bossy pulls up. Played one across to the far side.
Montreal Canadian Bryan Scrudlin, 22 years of age. Peace River, Alberta is where he's from. Saskatoon Blades is where he played his junior hockey.
Saskatoon Blades. All right. Scrudland has just poked the puck into the center ice zone where Janssen fed Potvin. Pass for Calder here on the right wing was out of his reach, and Rick Green is back. Calder knocked it away from him. Kortko goes in after it. It's still tied up in the boards. Now comes loose. And McPhee has cleared it, but not out. McPhee played it back in a little deeper for Rick Green. Backs one off the glass. It went off Janssen at the Montreal blue line. Thomas Janssen is checked, and McPhee comes over the line. McPhee centers one. Scrudlin shot it wide, and Smith.
McPhee faking the shot, finds Scrudlin open. There's the pass. He let it go right away, just grazing the outside of the goalpost. Smith takes it off the backboard and hangs on. Here's McPhee, who Dennis Potvin got a good chunk of in the first period, passing to Scrudlin, losing his balance as he takes
17 goals to 6 prior to tonight, winning in Hartford, tying in Minnesota, and then shutting out the LA Kings, who scored 17 goals on the road trip, 18 including the one here tonight. The team has come together, won their first 2 games, then lost 4 in a row. 2 wins, 2 ties in their last 4 outings, and they lead the Islanders 1-0 as Tonelli has the puck in his own end of the ice. The pass went to Trottier. Couldn't get out of there. Chris Nyland trying to set up Richer. Nyland a little off balance, got the shot away finally, and Leiter blocked it, gave it to Trottier. Chelios moved over on the Montreal defense. Tonelli, 1981. 5-0 in that last stretch. Last team, the Islanders to shut out on home ice was this Montreal Canadian club. Persson shooting it around the boards following the face-off. Roy left it back of the net. Played up the wing by Chelios, but they couldn't get it out of there. Bryan Trottier turns, comes out to the side of the net. The pass went to Flatley. Patrick Flatley couldn't get it to Trottier as he was bothered from behind. Now Trottier here on the right side, dumped it in off the glass. Canadiens trying to clear it out. Trottier held it in. Bryan Trottier pulls it away from Mats Naslund, gave it to Boudelier around the boards for Tonelli. Centers it out in front, and that's cleared at the defense by Curvers. Canadiens give it back to Curvers. Up the left side, out of the reach of Naslund, and there's Persson shooting it into the Montreal zone. Boy leaves it at the side of the net. Curvers plays it to Nyland. Nyland, Richer, and Naslund, the forward line for Montreal. And here's Patrick Flatley for the Islanders. Hit hard at the Montreal blue line, and back come the Canadiens. Naslund chased a loose puck into the Islanders' zone, and Nyland, and his shot blocked at the defense. Potvin has swept it off to the right side. The play continues, but the Canadiens give it away. Howson fed the pass to Tonelli. He's into the Montreal zone, but the play broken up there, and the Islanders have to chase it. And Potvin works it off the boards. Bobby Smith back to Curvers. Into the Islanders zone. Curvers chased by Nystrom. Smith picked it up and shot one off the glass. Potvin tries the left side. Clark Gillies gets a stick on it. Long pass at center is intercepted by Bob Smith. So the Canadiens shoot it into the Islanders zone, where Potvin knocked it down. He missed everybody on the right side, and the Canadiens chase it. Past the midway point of the second period, Montreal leading in this game 1-0, and they have just shot the puck the length of the ice. The result, a whistle.
Twice, but there's another team in the NHL that's lost only 2 games, leading the Patrick division, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, they have won 10 in a row. They'll host the Edmonton Oilers on Thursday night. The Islanders go to Philadelphia on Sunday. We'll have that game for you here on SportsChannel. And a week from tonight, the Flyers and the Islanders at the Nassau Coliseum. We watch Bill Smith playing it to Leiter, up the left side to Clark Gillies, out to Scott Howson. Howson chased into the Montreal zone and checked by Gainey. Svoboda dumped it out into the center ice zone. Moving up was Momesso, but he couldn't control it. Clark Gillies and Gainey go to the boards. Nystrom steps into his man. Morrow from the blue line, and it deflected off Svoboda and just wide of the net. Peter Svoboda carries it into the center ice zone. His second season in the National Hockey League. Svoboda's pass to Bobby Smith. Smith in the right wing corner put it out in front, and it was tipped away from Svoboda. Back comes Scott Howson. Shoots it into the Canadian zone. The Islanders making a change on the fly here, and Robinson tries the left side. It missed Gainey. Down into the Islanders zone. Johnson back for it. No icing call. Potvin and Johnson team up to give it to Duane Sutter. He kicks it around behind the net. Now it's LaFontaine with the puck. Over to the right side for Bossy. Back to LaFontaine. He got around Darlene. Across the Montreal line, gave it to Duane Sutter. He shoots. Roy the save, and the rebound.
Pass from Pat LaFontaine to Duane Sutter. There's the shot as he moved in. Roy makes the stop. There he is out after the rebound. Sees Sutter in pursuit of the rebound. Hangs on. Let's look again as LaFontaine. There he is. Pulled it to the forehand, moved to the good ice, and let the shot go right away. A couple of good ingredients to get a good shot away by Duane Sutter. That quick move to the...
Canadiens controlling the puck in their own end of the ice following the draw, and they move it out into center ice. Ludwig went to the right side. Darlene moves in with a shot into the pads of Smith, and he reaches behind to cover up on the puck.
Watch the feet of Denis Potvin. Here's Darlene. There's the shot. Billy Smith makes the save. It rolled out behind him. He didn't see it. Now watch Potvin. Watch his feet if you can. What he's doing right there is avoiding getting his skates into his goaltender, Bill Smith. He'll take the fall. He'll take running into the net. Just doesn't want to get his skates into the back of his goaltender.
The face-off, Smith had to sweep the puck to the right wing, and Bossy has dumped it out of there and down into the Montreal end. It gets over the goal line. Line 4, 4,100. Play underway. Potvin for the Islanders up to the left side. Duane Sutter tried to go rink wide to Bossy, but it was deflected by Carbonneau. Roy out of the net. LaFontaine got a shot away off the right wing boards, and Duane Sutter goes in after it. Sutter back in the net, trying to set up Bossy. The puck loose again behind the goal line, and Carbonneau clears it. Knocked down by Johnson to Bossy, who shot it high. It bounces off the glass and out into center ice. Picked up by Darlene. Cuts to the inside. Left it for Walter to the right side and drive. Darlene scores for Montreal.
Beautiful passing. Montreal, as they did on the opening goal in the first period. They've done it again here in the second period, moving the puck very well. Side to side. Let's take a look at Darlene as he cuts in, drops the puck. A quick pass by Ryan Walter and a return to Darlene, and it's in the net. Let's take a look. They skate looking like Montreal of old. They handle the puck looking like Montreal of old, and they pass the puck, no question. That line handling the puck well as they take a 2-0 lead. Darlene, his 8th goal of the season at 12:57, and it's 2-0.
Now Scrudland trying to spring his teammates loose. They go into the Islanders zone offside. Kortko on the delayed offside took it even deeper, so play is called. There is a break in the action.
Pretty passing play. It deserves another look as Dahlin drops it. Brian Walder to Carbonneau, and Carbonneau, that's a great pass across in heavy traffic, and Dahlin puts it in 2-0 Montreal. 6:51 remaining in the second period.
Now the Canadiens following the draw. Shot in by Curvers, and there's Stefan Persson. Up the left side comes Mark Hamway. Got it into the Montreal end of the ice. It's loose behind the net. The Islanders pour it after it, but can't control it. McPhee is bumped as he clears it into the center ice zone. Calder here on right wing. Tried to shoot it back in. It was blocked at the blue line and brought up to center by McPhee. Slowed up by Calder. Now Persson reaches for it. It comes out over the line to Roger Kortko. Kortko left side to Hamway, and he was checked right at the blue line. Good defensive play by Chris Chelios of Montreal.
Good anticipation, Jiggs. Defensemen that are that good at anticipating intercept a lot of passes.
Here's Roger Kortko having trouble getting out of there. Canadiens tightening up at the Islander line, but Kortko gets to center ice. A bouncing puck goes off McPhee. Picked up by Richer. Richer trying to move in on Persson. Gets chased to the corner. Hugh came in for the puck. He's checked in front of the net. It goes loose in the Islander zone. Recovered by Richer. Back to Svoboda. Flatley broke up that drive. Flatley comes over the line. Svoboda catches up with him. Flatley looks for some help. Gets knocked down from behind. His teammates had gone for a player change. And Naslund shoots.
Shut out the Islanders 3 times in the playoffs. And I remember that.
I bet you do. Bryan Trottier out with Patrick Flatley and John Tonelli for the New York Islanders. Svoboda and Robinson on the Montreal defense couldn't clear it out. Flatley is shot it around the boards. It came off the boards and cleared by Svoboda. Morrow moves over, held it at the Montreal line. Roy made the save, and the puck bounced over the stick of Trottier. Now he works it around to Flatley. Patrick Flatley lost it in the corner. Richer goes to the right wing boards with a pass to Nyland. It's knocked away from him. He and Tonelli collide. Tonelli comes up with the puck. Center. Trottier couldn't pull the trigger. And the Canadiens fail to get out of there again. It's Flatley with it. His pass across to Trottier comes to the boards. Trottier to the point for Morrow. Fires one. Roy the save. Flatley with the rebound. Turns, shoots. He scores!
Patrick Roy knew he'd made a mistake, but he couldn't do anything about it. He knocked the rebound right to Pat Flatley. Flatley doing a whirlabout quickly. Here's the play. Bryan Trottier. Morrow rips it from the point. There it is. He reacted too late. Flatley turned quickly and put it in the short side. Beautiful balance. Beautiful turn. As Morrow shot, there it is. There's the mistake. Roy dropped it too far out in front, and Patrick Flatley squished it in on the short side. His 7th goal of the season brought the Islanders within 1. Remember, he gets them in bunches. He had 2 going into the game in Toronto a week ago. He got 4 in Toronto to get to 6. He has now gone to 7.
Morrow and Trottier get assists on the goal. It's 2-1. The puck in the Montreal zone. Ludwig has cleared it into center ice. Denny Potvin gets it back to Gillies, and once more for Potvin. Goes to the right wing for Bob Nystrom. The pass off his skates, and it's cleared out of there. Green had given it to Gainey, then to the right side, and a hard
on their team. I'll tell you who they are when we have a chance.
And now a couple of Swedish players. Czechoslovakian. It is not an entire French team as it has been an occasion.
Pre-season roster, there were 8 others. We won't name them all.
No kidding, 8 others. Bobby Smith dumping the puck into the Islanders zone. Then he goes right to the Montreal bench as Duane Sutter rounds the net and starts out. Right side to Bossy. Back to Duane Sutter. He's met in the center ice zone. Here's Ryan Walter shooting it back in. Canadiens take away the center ice zone so well. The Islanders forced back into their own zone. You see Duane Sutter kicking at it. The Canadiens come up with the puck. Centering attempt to the blue line. Curvers with a shot that missed the net. They fire another one just wide. A That one off the stick of Carbonneau. It's loose back of the net. Carbonneau tried to come out in front. Bill Smith hooked the puck away from him, gave it to Bossy. Bossy sidesteps Walter's check. Had to go back for the puck, however, and plays it around the boards. At LaFontaine in his own zone. Up the left side to Duane Sutter. He comes over the Montreal line, made the play to Bossy, cuts in, shoots Roy, the save, and the rebound was out of the reach of LaFontaine. The Islanders recontrol it at center ice as Morrow shoots it in. Roy failed to cut it off. Chelios and Duane Sutter collide. The puck goes to Bossy. Back of the net, couldn't center one in front, and here's Chris Chelios. Bossy moves into forecheck. Chelios ringed it around the glass out to center ice. Little less than 3 minutes to go in the second period. Leiter's pass onto the stick of LaFontaine. Now to Bossy. Bossy sidestepped Carbonneau, then ran into Walter and ends up on the deck.
Best way to play Bossy, Jiggs. Teams are starting to learn how, if they can do it. Brian Walter playing the body of Bossy, eliminating him, not worrying about the puck.
Now at center ice, we watch Leiter giving it to Morrow. Morrow has shot it into the Montreal zone off the stick of Chelios. Holder chases him in. The puck goes around the boards. Brian Walter tipped it down into the Islanders zone. Morrow goes back, and this will be called for
exhibiting his effectiveness from the left wing side. Look at the play he makes here to Mike Bossy right on his stick. Beautiful shot by Bossy. Good stop by Patrick Roy with his right pad as Duane Sutter springs Bossy loose. One of the few times Bossy's been able to get in that close and get a good shot away.
Roger Kortko pulls the face-off back to Morrow. Fires one. Roy went down with the right pad, making the save. Leiter kicking at it. And now Robinson moved it out. McPhee sends Grudland into the Islanders zone. Hamway chases him into the corner. And Grudland came up with the puck once more. Dumped it back of the net. There's McPhee. Like McPhee trying to turn away from Hamway. Grudland with it. Back to the blue line to Robinson. His shot changed.
We'll have to watch.
He has played very well here tonight as these two teams meet for the first time this season.
What he just showed me, Jake, something that a lot of players do not have is great balance on his skates. Remember him dancing around down to the left of Billy Smith there a few times, getting bumped, had his stick held onto, was able to hang on and keep his balance. Let's go down and check in with Stan Fischler, see what's coming up at the end of the second period.
Trottier taking the draw against Richer, and he won the faceoff, getting it to Thomas Janssen. Around to Tonelli, who's tipped it out over the blue line. Robinson knocked it down. Nyland picks it up and steps back in over the blue line, giving it to Richer, to Naslund, and his shot went wide. Richer left it back of the net for Mats Naslund to the blue line, and it gets away from Svoboda, who has to come back. Now to Robinson. His pass intercepted by Patrick Flatley to Tonelli, off his skate at the Montreal line and recovered by Svoboda. Shoots it on into the Islanders zone, but didn't get over the center ice stripe. This will
separate teams. They were both drafted, Kelly Lindbergh and Mats Naslund, in 1979. One, of course, by Philadelphia, Kelly Lindbergh. Mats Naslund by the Montreal Canadiens.
The puck in the Montreal end. We're in the final minute of the second period. LaFontaine went to center one. It comes back to Persson now. Played it in along the boards, but Carbonneau blocked that and dumped it into center ice. Boudelier back for the Islanders. Over to Persson. Persson trying to get it to Bossy. It was broken up by Gainey. Gainey and Bossy in a battle. That's won by Gainey, and his pass goes rink wide. Brian Walter shoots it into the Islanders zone. Half a minute to go in this period. Boudelier tries the right wing boards to Bossy. He dumps it out into the center ice area. And back for Montreal is Ludwig. Greg Ludwig shoots it in around the boards. Bill Smith cuts it off. It'll be picked up by Stefan Persson. Into the corner for Pat LaFontaine. LaFontaine leads the Islanders over center on into the Montreal zone. The pass to Bossy. He shoots, and the goaltender, Roy, just got enough of that. Bossy trying to get it back to the blue line. It gets away from Persson. It goes back for it now. That'll do it for the second period as the horn sounds here at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
Right down to the end of the period, Jake. You could see him going for the low right-hand corner as LaFontaine smartly dropped it. Bossy picking the low on the bench.
And as the third period gets underway, Boudelier and Persson on defense. Bossy, LaFontaine, and Duane Sutter the forwards. The puck dumped into the Montreal zone, and Roy's clearing attempt went over the glass, so they'll get a face at Wayne Gretzky and company here at the Coliseum on Saturday night. We'll be on Sports Channel with the Islander pregame show at 6:30. The game begins at 7. Join us a half hour before the face-off. All Islander home games. Persson up the middle to LaFontaine. He steps over the Montreal line, was slowed up just enough to put the play offside.
Duane Sutter.
We'll check that out for you on the Islander wrap-up show tonight. Tonelli out with Trottier and Flatley as they got the puck into the Montreal zone. Robinson's pass went off Trottier, and now Green has cleared it to center. Janssen and Potvin move it back and forth at the Islander blue line. Janssen comes over center ice and shoots it in. Robinson waiting for it, got bumped by Trottier, who came up with the puck momentarily. Robinson's clearing effort goes to Gainey. Gainey rink wide, moving up is Dahlin. He's over the line. Potvin comes back. The pass to Gainey. Bob Gainey held it, plays it around the boards. Robinson in deep for Montreal. Tries to come out in front of the net. The pass went to Bob Gainey. Turn, shoots, and that missed the net. Picked up by Dahlin here on right wing. Goes back to the Islander goal. Centered, and it's tapped wide by Bobby Smith. John Tonelli has it. Tonelli out of his own zone. Slowed up by Bobby Smith. Now Flatley gets over the Montreal line. The puck goes to Trottier, but it's called back. Puck into the Montreal zone. Gainey out with Momesso and Smith for Montreal at the moment. Up the right side, Sergio Momesso dumped it in. Montreal did not go for an immediate player change. Here's Momesso. Got it to Bobby Smith. Tries to pull away from Howson. Is checked on the play. The puck in the skates of Howson. Smith takes it loose. Couldn't get a shot away, and the Islanders have cleared it to center ice. And Chelios hustles back for the Canadiens. Number 24, Chris Chelios off the boards. Held in by Howson, who backhanded it wide. Chelios from behind the net, shot it high in the air off the glass. Morrow is checked at the blue line. Now the Canadiens dump it to center, but right to Leiter. The Gillies at the Montreal line, but Nystrom had stepped in ahead of the play and offside.
A long time to convince Jacques Lemaire to stay on as coach last year, and he did, but he couldn't convince him to stay on again this year.
Losing, and they didn't lose all that many games last year compared to a couple of seasons back, but losing just didn't sit well with Lemaire. Couldn't handle.
More a big part of it, Jiggs, was yes, doing the everyday stuff that a coach has to do, but the biggest problem he had was with the press.
Now the Canadiens moving in. The pass to Robinson, broken up neatly, and a good play by Stefan Persson. And here's Bossy over the line on right wing. A penalty going to be called back to the play. The pass to Boudelier around one man, but then as he lost control of the puck, the Canadiens picking it up, and we get a whistle. A penalty to Montreal. A break of the action. Your score.
The penalty box, a tripping penalty up in at Bryan Trottier in the center ice area. I think it was Trottier that he got a hold of. Here's Trottier. Tries to make a play, jumped in the air. Usually referees will not call a penalty when the player, particularly in the center ice area, leaves his feet like Bryan Trottier did. But this one called as a penalty.
Potvin shot went off Bobby Smith's stick. Potvin battles for it on the boards, clears it into the corner. Bossy now to Trottier. Back to Mike Bossy. Bossy takes a look. Gets into that face-off circle. Feeds it back to Denis Potvin. In front to Trottier. Couldn't steer it in. This is Bossy. Goes across to the far side. Tonelli's shot went wide of the net. Potvin comes racing in from the blue line. Is checked by Bobby Smith. And Potvin ran into Green. Overcomes Bryan Trottier. Trottier grabbed and held by Bobby Smith. The Islanders control the puck. Bossy tight on the boards. Gets loose now with a pass to Potvin. Back to Bossy. Bossy centers. Roy the save, and the rebound is cleared by Bob Gainey. Slaps it up to the blue line. It'll be picked up by Janssen. Across to Mike Bossy. Steps over the Montreal line on his off wing. Bossy goes rink wide. Janssen knocks it down at the blue line. Plays one around the boards, and there is Rick Green. He backhanded it off Mike Bossy. Bossy has the puck on his stick. Feeds the blue line. That's Janssen into Trottier. Back to Janssen. Take the shot, then let it go, and it went off Tonelli's stick. He puts it off to the side of the net. Into the skates of Rick Green. It's jammed out of there by Tonelli. But right to Bossy, to the blue line to Potvin. Now to Janssen. Fires and misfired on it. Trottier picks it off. Bryan Trottier to John Tonelli. Center to Bossy, and it just went wide as he had him set up beautifully. Here's Potvin to Janssen, who comes over to cover at the left point. Now across to Bryan Trottier. Back to Janssen, into Trottier. Trottier once more for Janssen. Lets the shot go through a screen, and Roy got in front of that. Over goes Trottier for the rebound. Got it to Janssen. Janssen with 12 seconds left in the power play. There's Trottier with a drive that missed the net. Potvin in the corner, trying to get it to the point. It's broken up by Gainey, who covers the puck. And there is no further play. Gainey going down to get a play stoppage that doesn't set well with Islander fans, and only 4 seconds remaining, and Carbonneau's tripping.
There was batted 50%. Hey, he's going to be in pretty good shape, isn't he? And if a passer, a quarterback, had a 50% ratio in his passing, he'd be considered very good. But a referee is only 50% right all of the time.
That's well put. Duane Sutter following the faceoff of LaFontaine, and it ends up in the far corner, and Carbonneau is out of the penalty box. The Canadiens managed to clear it out of there. Morrow goes rink wide to Duane Sutter. The pass to LaFontaine. Couldn't hold on to it. Got upended in the Montreal end of the ice. And back to the goal is Chris Chelios. Canadiens start out. Robinson moved it up to the left side. That's McPhee with a drop pass to Smith. McPhee got in too deep. Smith, Bill Smith out of position, and there's Robinson with a shot that's blocked by Morrow. Delay penalty called in effect against the Islanders, and as LaFontaine clears the puck.
Penalty for interference. What I want to show you is something else. Back down in the Montreal end of the ice. Here's Sutter to Pat LaFontaine. Now here's LaFontaine trying to control the puck. Larry Robinson. Well,
trip him, hook him.
That's to me more of a penalty than a player jumping in the air, falling down, as Guy Carbonneau got the penalty on Trottier in the center ice area. That's the difference I'm trying to make, the point I'm trying to make.
And now Montreal has a man advantage. Duane Sutter was sent off for interference at 4:58. Only the second power play of this game for the Canadiens, and Duane gets it back to the point for Robinson. His shot, the low one, is deflected wide. The puck loose back of the net and cleared by Morrow. Couldn't get it out of there. Robinson into Duane here on right wing. Got it to the corner. They play it back to Robinson. Over to Chelios. Fired one on the fly, and it went wide of the net. Billy Smith being bothered by Ryan Walter. Puck still in the Islander zone. Here's Duane moving in. Shoots Smith the save, and the rebound was knocked wide by Naslund. Walter hooks it back to Chelios at the blue line. A shot. He scores! A low shot eluding Bill Smith on the power play. And the Canadiens have a 2-goal lead.
Montreal moving the puck quickly to the point position. The shot came through. It may have been deflected in front of Billy Smith, but it clearly got between his knees, trickling on into the back of the net. And it's a 3-1 lead. Here's the play starting at the point position. Duane takes a shot. Good stop by Smith. Rebound. Smith gets a piece of that as Walter, or I should say Naslund, takes the shot. Chelios' shot right between the legs of Bill Smith. Here's that sequence all over again from another angle. Naslund takes a shot, backhand, wide. Back to the point. Chelios lets it fly. Billy Smith lets it get between his knees. Montreal regain their 2-goal lead. 3-1. Chelios getting his 4th goal of the season.
3 of the 4, Eddie, on the power play. Big plus for Montreal with a shot from the point.
They changed the power play years ago because of Montreal.
Chris Nyland comes in on right wing, and a shot rolled off the stick of Potvin and well up into the seats.
Just to finish that, Montreal had such a potent power. He changed it, as you see now, when a team scores a power play goal, the player comes out of the penalty box.
That was the era of the rocket, the boom boom.
Dickie Moore, Bellow.
Canadiens leading by a score of 3-1. Bill Smith out of the Islander net in the collision. Now Nyland leading into Duane Sutter. Sutter tying it up in his skates, kicked it loose. Naslund feeds it to the blue line. Robinson shot one wide of the net. Here's Naslund for the Canadiens. Over in the far side. Svoboda's shot was blocked by Denis Potvin, and Patrick Flatley for the Islanders clears it into center ice for Duane Sutter. Sutter trying to come in on Robinson. They tie up one another. And Svoboda has it at the side of the net. Walter and Naslund got the assist of that power play goal by Chelios. Here's LaFontaine for the Islanders, trying to get around the defense. Fires one that was blocked. Now gets it to Duane Sutter. Sutter can't set up LaFontaine, who had gone to the slot. And the Canadiens moving around the boards, but not out. Paul Boudelier into the corner. Svoboda being tied up there. A pile up in the corner, and the puck comes loose. Back to Persson. Shot one off a skate. Canadiens again checked in their own territory. Neil Coulter battled for it. It comes back to Boudelier. A shot from the point is blocked in front. And Svoboda gets it ahead for Naslund, who slams it down the ice. Wide of Bill Smith. Roger Kortko taking the face-off for the Islanders. Bryan Scrudland on the draw for Montreal. Kortko wins the face-off. Morrow with it at the right point. Then it up in his skates, got it back to the stick, and worked it around the boards. There's Courtgo. He and Green battle for it. Hamway is there as well. Mark Hamway dug it loose, but the Canadiens fired out into center ice, and very quickly into the Islanders' zone they come with the shot.
Lights and heat and things of that nature.
And it still bothers me that happens.
They're good?
I suppose, yeah. I suppose because you're big and, have that much control in a certain situation, that it's easy to boo somebody that's that big.
They're cheering the Boy Scout troopers here.
Oh, good. We got a yay and a boo. It's like Stan Fischler does in the pregame show.
We hope that you'll be bringing a group out to the Nassau Coliseum this season to see the Islanders in action. Watch now as Strudlin gets into the Islanders' zone to Lemieux on left wing. Glove save as Bobby Smith realigns the Montreal Canadiens prior to the face-off and here at the Nassau Coliseum on Tuesday, the 4th of March. Canadiens leading the Islanders 3-1 as Howson starts out. Over center ice and shoots it in. Gillies goes racing after it. Chelios slaps it off the boards. Off Potvin stick at the blue line. And the Canadiens have a break at center ice. Bobby Smith, and he stayed onside. A lot of referees, the Islander players bench. That's the reason for this face-off. Trottier gets it back into Stefan Persson. Persson to Boudelier. Bryan Trottier goes off his stick. Trottier picks it up again at center ice. Laid it off the vessel at the Montreal Coliseum box office and local Ticketmaster outlets. For to charge by telephone, call 1-800-682-8080. John Tonelli got it into the corner. Flatley back to Tonelli. Shot one high and wide. Flatley took the feet out from under his check. Naslund got it back to Boudelier. Shot one. That was blocked in front as Trottier was cutting through the goal mouth. Boudelier recovers back in his own end of the ice.
Larry Robinson keeps looking over at the referee, wondering whether or not his arm's in the air to call a penalty.
Here's Tonelli into the Montreal zone. Robinson stepped in front of him and has played it around to Mats Naslund. Over comes Flatley. Holds it right at the blue line. Then it comes outside the line, and the Canadiens give it away to Tonelli to Boudelier. He shoots it in off the boards. Tonelli pouring it on the right side. Did not make contact with it. It came out to center ice, and Morrow Berkeley gave it to LaFontaine. Now to Tonelli. Steps over the Montreal line. A big slap shot wide on the glove side as Roy reached but missed. Now LaFontaine put it out in front, and that's cleared by Robinson. Naslund dumps it back to the net. Tonelli took his man down. Flatley, I should say, took the man down, and Patrick Flatley cannot get it to Leiter, covering at the blue line. It'll go down into the Islanders' zone, and Bill Smith has to play it. Morrow being chased by Naslund. Less than 10 minutes to go in the third period. The Canadiens leading 3-1 as we watch Kenny Leiter with the puck. Pulled it away from Nyland and gave it to Morrow. Morrow's pass deflected into the center ice zone. Now loose in the Montreal end, and Craig Ludwig is back. Lost his balance back of the net. Over on right wing is LaFontaine. Centers. Wayne Sutter shoots. Roy the save, and it's slapped out of there by the Canadiens defenseman Rick Green. In the air, it landed in the Montreal zone. Green has it, a delayed offside in effect, so the Canadiens get a chance to move it out. They moved it right to Bossy. He couldn't handle it. Carbonneau comes over the Islander blue line, dished it off to the left wing. Walter had to go back for it. Ryan Walter just put it in the corner, and that's cleared by Persson to Leiter. Back to Persson. Out to LaFontaine. Left side for Duane Sutter. Kinds of trouble finding it and never did. Carbonneau comes over the blue line, giving it to Darlene, and a shot deflects off the stick.
Desperately, there's the pass to Duane Sutter, reaching high, looking for the top right-hand corner of the net. Patrick Roy gets in front of it, making the stop. Pat LaFontaine setting up Duane Sutter.
Canadiens got the face-off here. The first shot off the far side by Curvers was blocked, and now Darlene gets checked. The Islanders start out. Hamway down the left side. Stick handles into the Montreal zone. Is cut off at the defense by Chelios. Out come the Canadiens. Curvers shoots it into the far corner. Montreal peeling off for a player change. Persson gives the puck to Potvin. Up to Coulter. Got away from him. Then goes Courtgo. Knocked down by Curvers. Loose puck. Couldn't make contact with it. And B back to Montreal, gave it to Curvers, intercepted now by Courtgo. After Courtgo comes out of the far corner. Gives it to Morrow at the blue line. His shot blocked in front. They continue to battle for it, and Hamway is cleared it into the corner. Over comes Kortko as well. Mark Hamway is stripped of the puck. It hits Morrow at the blue line, and he plays it to the far side where Kerbers dumps it high in the air into the Islanders' zone. Two-line pass called.
Now in the hockey game, there's the shot from the point. It changed direction. He got a piece of it. Look at the backhand shot. A good backhand shot by Neil Coulter. And Roy quickly moving his arm, got a piece of it, knocking it away to the corner.
Good reflexes. The agility of this big youngster. We're seeing him for the first time tonight.
Looks a lot taller than the 6 foot, 165 pounds they're giving him on this.
Yeah, he sure does. Gillies clearing the puck, but it comes outside the Montreal blue line, and Boudelier hustles back. Still 7.5 minutes to play in the third period, but the Islanders down by 2 on home ice. Boudelier gave it to Persson. Back to Paul Boudelier. Up the right side for Nystrom, who shoots it into the Montreal zone. Svoboda goes after it now. Peter Svoboda around the boards. There's Boudelier for the Islanders. Couldn't get it to the corner. Now kicks at it. Ends up in the stick of Clark Gillies. He's met by the check of Momesso. Nystrom is there as well. Bodies bumping all over the place, but the puck is on the stick of Robinson. Harry Robinson forced back by the hounding of Howson. Now Svoboda helps out. Plays it around the boards. Boudelier comes to the left side. It's knocked away from him. Goes on Persson's stick, and moving up is Bobby Smith into the Islanders zone. He's hooked by Nystrom. There is no whistle. And Nystrom plays the puck to Paul Boudelier. Boudelier comes over center ice and golfs it in. The Islanders going for a player change. Tonelli has come out on the ice with Nystrom and Bossy. Canadiens leading 3-1. Have the puck at center ice, and Gainey dumps it in. It bounces right in front of Bill Smith, who scoops it up and throws it off for Thomas Janssen. Now to John Tonelli. Tonelli tight on the left wing board, gives it to Potvin. Around the boards again to Janssen. Out to John Tonelli. Comes over center ice. Into the Montreal zone. The pass through to Trottier. He's cleared it to the corner. Right back to Trottier. In front to Janssen. He shoots. What a stop by Roy. Bossy couldn't control the rebound, and out come the Montreal Canadiens. Ryan Walter dishes it off for Carbonneau. He's checked at center by Potvin. Trottier takes Bossy's pass. Steps over the line on left wing and shoots one. Stick hand save by Roy. Trottier slaps the rebound around the boards. Janssen moves over, but Walter got there first, and the Islanders have to chase a loose puck. Potvin with it. Tries the left wing for Mike Bossy. Bossy's pass cut off. He got control of it again to Tonelli. It's into the Montreal zone. Gave it to Bossy. He was too well covered. And Carbonneau flips it into center ice. That's Janssen with it now. Jansson's pass knocked out of the air. McPhee and Janssen go after it. Janssen around to Denny Potvin. Up to Bossy here on left wing. He goes rink wide with a pass to Tonelli. Tonelli can't slip it through the skates of the Montreal defenseman, and the Canadiens come over center ice. McPhee met at the Islander blue line by Boudelier. Race for a loose puck. Lemieux gets there along with Boudelier. Lemieux knocked down back of the net, and Flatley over on right wing went to clear one out. Ended up in the skates of Scrudland, who was taken down, and here's LaFontaine sending Duane Sutter over the line. Sutter's shot blocked at the defense. Chelios got in front of it. Scrudland checked in his own zone. Chelios with it again around the boards. And McPhee shoots it high. It bounces down into the Islander zone, and this will be an icing call as well. It will not be. Boudelier did not get there first. He went one way, Lemieux went the other. Lemieux took the short route. Play continues. Persson with it back of the net. Up to Duane Sutter. Cross to the right wing. Flatley took his eye off the puck as he saw a man moving up. That man happened to be number 44, Richer. But here's Potvin over the Montreal line. His pass in and out of some skates, and the Canadiens get control of it. Lemieux unable to send Richer into the Islander zone cleanly, and now we will get a penalty. Lemieux drops it back. They get Roy to the Montreal bench. And the extra man out there, and then just shoot it in. Break in the action.
3:55 remaining. Not but a moment before that, the Islanders with some pressure on. John Tonelli fighting behind the net, drops the puck off. Bryan Trottier, look at this shot. What a stop by Patrick Roy as he stands his ground. That puck hurt him as Thomas Janssen with time ripped it. He again looking for the top right-hand corner. The Islanders consistently tonight have been shooting at the high marks of the net. Easier for the goaltender, unless there's a scouting report somewhere that says he's weak. with his gloves and hands up high, but he has not shown me that weakness here.
He has been impressive. Canadiens with their rookies out there. Duane got it back. This is a veteran handling it now. Robinson over to Chelios. Into the corner. Mats Naslund takes a look. Duane is the only rookie out for Montreal. I stand corrected there. And Flatley has given it to Kortko. Off his skates, Kortko moved up but couldn't regain control of it. Robinson to Duane. He has one of the 3 Montreal goals, and with help from Walter has cleared the puck into the Islander end. Comes around behind the net to Duane. Changed direction with it. Gives it to Chelios. There's Chelios. Over to Naslund to the blue line. Robinson shot hit the goalpost. Duane has the rebound. Couldn't get it up over Bill Smith.
To the top of the net, this line has moved the puck. Robinson rings it off the goalpost. Here's Duane. Look at Billy Smith. He's got the hands up. He says, ha-ha, gotcha. I was just a little too quick. Puck slid back underneath Bill Smith, stopping the play. It's a pretty good action here as Montreal come close to wide with the only third period goal. That at 5:42 on a power play. Give Montreal a 3-1 lead. They're on a power play now.
Green knocked the puck down at the Islander line. It's lugged out by Thomas Johnsson. Tonelli joining him as they get over the Montreal line. Johnsson gets taken off the puck by Rick Green. Here's Persson at the left point into John Tonelli. Put it out in front for Bossy and the backhander. Roy the save.
Here, the Islanders' first shorthanded goal of the season. There's the shot. A good one. It was low. Roy making the save off Mike Bossy. 4 goals in 3 games versus Montreal.
Off this penalty to Denis Potvin. He was sent off for interference at 16:05. Roy making the save off that faceoff. Bobby Smith and Tonelli took the draw, and here is Rick Green peeling back. Tonelli chased him. Green able to get it to Richer. Around the boards into the far corner, and Svoboda falling was able to get it ahead and out into center ice. On the Canadiens, Bobby Smith giving it to Richer. A slap shot sails over the crossbar and bounces out into center ice. Bossy couldn't knock it away from Svoboda. Half a minute to go in this Canadiens power play. 2 minutes 24 seconds left in the third period. Persson overshot it. The puck goes loose. Persson cannot get over in time. Bobby Smith has it for Montreal. Smith back to Green in the slot. The shot changed direction after hitting Johnsson. Richer playing it back and forth with Smith. It'll come to the blue line to Robinson, into Richer. That's broken up, cleared by Johnsson, right to Mike Bossy. Gets over center ice, into the Montreal zone, to the pass to Johnsson, goes across to Tonelli, and it's blocked at the defense. A sprawling block by Rick Green. Potvin is back out on the ice, steps in front of Robinson to break up the rush. Potvin gets dragged down, and now Robinson will go off.
On the ice, Robinson pulls him down. Look at the save here by Rick Green. Watch number 5. There he goes down, makes a dazzling stop off John Tonelli on a perfect pass from Mike Bossy, breaking up an Islander scoring opportunity.
Fontaine out in this face-off, got it back to Potvin, and he is checked in the center ice zone. Carbonneau across to Mats Naslund. Naslund shoots. That was deflected by Paul Boudelier. Potvin with it behind the net. Left wing for LaFontaine. He, Flatley, and Duane Sutter get into the Montreal end of the ice. Puck knocked loose. Boudelier steps in. Flatley battling for it. It gets away from Paul Boudelier, who comes back to Sutter to recover.
One of the pluses, Jiggs, for Montreal at this point in the hockey game with a 2-goal lead, they can ice the puck.
Break for them in this case. Boudelier across to Potvin. Couldn't get it to LaFontaine on the return pass, and Rick Green dumps it in. Chasing it is Denis Potvin with exactly 60 seconds left in regulation time. The Islanders need a pair of goals. Mike Bossy has the puck. Got it to Tonelli, goes into the Montreal zone, is ridden into the corner. Tonelli comes out of there with the puck, centering. Potvin shot is blocked. Bossy the rebound, and Trottier shot it wide. Bossy gives it to Potvin. Into Bossy, centers. There's Trottier with a shot, blocked to the defense, and Roy comes out, the puck in the net. Off Hamway, was parked in the goal crease. The Canadiens will put up an argument that Hamway was in the goal crease.
I think he was at the crease, Jiggs, but it's how he got there that really matters. Was he pushed in? 37 seconds remaining in the hockey game. There's the quieted Montreal bench as they watch the Islanders pull within 1. They finally got one by the boarded up net of Patrick Roy. Bryan Trottier retrieves the puck. Roy stopped it. There's the shot by Tonelli. Look where, standing in the crease, Mark Hamway is. Watch to see if you can see how he got in there. There he is, all alone. He hasn't been pushed. He hasn't been pushed. Now he's been pushed.
think it may have hit him. Tonelli got the shot away. 23 seconds. 19:23 is the time, and a timeout has been called. Will play back in his own end, and he reached to knock the puck out of the air. Couldn't do it. Has to go back for it, and it's going to be called for icing. Bad play on
the third period. There's the puck. Now, they feel that Montreal feels that Potvin could have won.
6 Islanders inside that blue line. Trottier on the draw. Got it to Bossy, and he shot it wide. It's picked up in the near corner. Naslund dumps it around the boards. 22 seconds left. LaFontaine plays it to the boards. It's cleared right to Trottier. Bryan Trottier trying to center. That's broken up.
The play outside behind the net. Here's the play. Carbonneau off the stick of Pat LaFontaine is what the argument is. As he stick in the way, that brings the face-off to where it is.
Islanders get the draw. Potvin shoots it back in. 11 seconds left. Green slaps it off the boards. Trottier couldn't hold it at the blue line and comes down into the Islanders zone. Janssen couldn't knock it loose, and Gainey missed an empty net. That's going to do it. The Canadiens hold on to defeat the Islanders. Your final